Alrighty, so I'm not doing the Korra mod right at the moment. I'm not playing as Korra. I'm playing as my main character. I'm currently in Falscar, but I really wanted to talk about that season 5 thing, um, or even a movie. So I've always thought, how could they make more Korra content? Because let's face it, they're throwing everything at her. They're throwing a terrorist, an anarchist, same thing, an equalist terrorist, same thing, and they're throwing a dictator at her, and they've even thrown a crime lord or a crime boss at her in the comic books. Like, what hasn't Korra faced? You right there? I know her name's funny. She is an Imperial heavy battle mage, and that's why she's got that weird looking armor. It's been like meshed onto her. Anyway, well, I thought to myself, there's not much they can really throw at her, you know, unless they throw an entirely new dynamic at her where she has to rebuild the Earth Kingdom. And then she kind of does that in the comic books. She doesn't really, but I'd like to see her, like, as this new avatar, rebuild a place, you know, that she kind of couldn't really fix because at the time she was healing. That'd be a really cool redemption story, but I was thinking, what would be a challenge, or even that would put this newly formed powerful Korra back on her knees, which would, you know, force her to get even stronger, or you know, that could possibly really defeat her. And I thought about that, and I've got an idea.
I'll catch up with you later. Take care.
So, season 5 could take place as maybe like after maybe 5 years or so, or maybe even 2 years after season 4, after comic books. And this takes place where the Red Lotus have really started to like put sleeper agents in. Like, ever since Korra opened the portal, you know, in saving Kavira, she has caused a lot of trouble with the local Republic's, the Republic City citizens. Now, understand that all decisions that you make have consequences, them be good or bad. In her decision to save Kavira's life, she caused a spirit portal which acted like a nuclear bomb and shredded the center of Republic City, right? And this would have caused so many people to be homeless and so many people to hate the Avatar for destroying their lives. And this could really be a really good focusing point for those surviving members of the Red Lotus to recruit. And why is there so much room for that? Because, well, Zahir can go into the spirit realm and he can talk to them and give them orders, just like, you know, give them orders in the spirit realm. And it's very similar to the, like I said before, the Skyrim quest in Markarth, called the King in Rags, where he pretty much organises the Forsworn while he's imprisoned. And Zahir could do this by giving orders to his, you know, top-ranking lieutenants or captains in the Red Lotus while he's still in prison. And so I thought, doing Zahir again, I don't know. But there's always been one villain that people want to see, and that is Amund, or Tarlok. I think his name's Tarlok, I'm not too sure. Could be the brother. You know, people really want to see more of him, and only because we've got one season at the time, it was going to be a mini-series, he died at the end, because, again, there wasn't going to be no bridge between 1 and 2, because there wasn't going to be a 2. And this is where, you know, I've got a story for him surviving. So if you've ever played Knights of the Republic, there's a Sith Lord called Darth Sion. He pretty much keeps himself alive with the dark side of the Force. And if you Google search him, if you don't know who he is, he's an absolutely messed up fucking looking Sith. He looks like a zombie. He's completely and utterly broken. The dark side of the Force keeps him alive. And you remember, Aman is a very powerful waterbender. He can bloodbend without the moon. He can bloodbend in the daylight, for crying out loud. Let alone needing a full moon for it. And so, since he's that powerful, he would have definitely learned how to use water to heal himself. Now, where did he blow up? He blew up out in sea. Now, an explosive going off like that, you'd have shrapnel, you'd have fire, explosive damage, and of course, the force of it ripping your limbs to pieces, right? So he's landed in the water. This is just a fanfic, but not really the fanfic. I'm not going to write a fucking fiction over it. Here's my quest here, so somewhat remain redundant. I'll just run to this marker, depending on where it is. Across the road, fair enough, it is Simone. I've got followers, but not all of them fucking very PG rated. So he's basically used his blood bending to keep his limbs attached, to keep his blood inside of his body, while he's used the water to heal. And this has left him incredibly scarred. And his mask is now actually needed for when he gets a new one. So he returns to the world of Korra. But this time, instead of there being a red circle on the top of his helmet, it's now a red lotus flower, as in he has now joined the Red Lotus. They've found him, they've helped him, and they've recruited him. Now, why has he joined? Because he's got an oath, he's got a score to settle with Korra. Korra destroyed his dreams, destroyed his plans, and in the long run, got his brother killed, and him almost killed. So he wants blood for blood. You know, he wants to take Korra out because all this happened because of her. And the Red Lotus want the Avatar dead, permanently. Now, he could break Zahir out, alright, eventually, having Zahir and Amon fighting Korra. I don't think she'd stand a chance. Personally, I don't think she would stand a chance against those two fighting her at one time. Now, this is where I want to make the story really interesting, because in the comic book, Kavira and her team up. You know, Kavira ends up redeeming herself in the Avatar's eyes, and even Sue's eyes, because she realised what she did was fucking wrong, and she owns up to that, and she lives up to it, and she helps people out. She kind of redeems herself. And I would love to see the Season 4 villain become the ally of Korra, where she comes in and she helps Korra, or she saves her from Amon and Zahir. You know, because she's going up against these two very, very powerful benders. One can blood bend, and the other can, you know, is also an airbender, very powerful airbender. And her fourth and final villain, who she chose to save the life of, becomes her savior. You know, saves her life pretty much.
Hey,
and I think that would make it.
That bastard Ingmar up to something.
Stop swearing, mate. This is PG. Wanker.
We knew this would happen.
Anyway, so this looks
Tell
new.
Ragnar that we will prepare, then head down there.
This could make a very dynamic story, because, you know, at the end of Season 4, we saw Korra really pull off some amazing power. Like, she created her own portal. She withstood that power in Avatar form. And then when she wasn't even in Avatar form, she was pulling off abilities that were Avatar form like. Like her air bending, her earth bending, her fire bending were absolutely just chronically insane. And you'd think, look, there's nothing you could throw at her which she would, you know, be threatened by. And I'm going to tell you right now, Amon and Zahir would be a great threat. And have them kick her ass and put her down on her knees, and then have Kavira come in and save her, or at least save her and back her up, would be awesome. You know, you'd have two villains in one go, and then you'd have the fourth and final villain come up as her backup and as her savior. That would be sick. That would be an awesome story for 5. Because, let's face it, man, Korra was hated to the shit out. She was absolutely hated. By the fans, not by all the fans of course, but by a large representation of the Last Airbender fans. Because she wasn't really made for Netflix, sorry, not Netflix, Nickelodeon. She just wasn't. It was the wrong timing, wrong place. If Korra would have come out 2 years ago and ended up on Netflix, would have exploded. Would have absolutely gone boom. But unfortunately it was put on a kids service, and it was absolutely shit on by Nickelodeon. I mean, Nickelodeon treated Mike and Brian, I don't know if I got their names backwards, like royalty with The Last Airbender, and then they treated them like peasants with Korra. They just stood on it. And it having gay representation didn't do it any help either, because even before then they were stomping on it. They were shit on it because she was a strong female protagonist. And coloured skin might have even been the thing. I don't see the point in racism anymore. Like, I don't even believe in this shit, because you know, you're a human being. Everyone's fucking bad, everyone's good. But I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to get political. And yeah, so they shit all over her. But now, in the current day and age, you've got so much more love for her, and I've seen so many posts on Twitter with Korra walked so others could run, and that pretty much means that she was, you know, she's a world record breaker. She's the first animation for children to ever represent a same-sex relationship. And of course, this inspired other studios to go ahead and do that too. You got Adventure Time, you've got Dragon Prince, you've got She-Ra, and I watched She-Ra. I wasn't all too interested in it because it felt like I was watching like something made for 5-year-old girls, 11-year-old girls. But I did watch it, I did finish it because I was recommended. I'm talking way too fast. I was recommended to watch it by some, I think it was by some of the Discorders of Legends of Korra and by a Facebook page. I watched it. And I will admit, I actually cried at the end because it felt like a peace was there, you know, because we didn't get to see that love with Asami and Korra because it's put on hold. But we got to see that with She-Ra, and I felt like it was a successful story because, quite simply, I lost the love of my life, and I've never told my parents or anybody. I tell you guys online because I'll never meet any of you guys personally, so I don't have to worry about that. And I know how it feels to have a story open up and then just close right in front of you. And you've got all these feelings, so you just got to bury them. Or they overtake you, and you do something that you can't take back. And I just, you know, like, I kind of forgot where I was heading with this. But I'd make a really good idea for Korra. Now, why do I love the Legends of Korra? Because she's what I see, what I want women to see for female strength. You know, not to sit there in a crowd and put a sign up saying men are evil. Men are sexualizing women. It's kind of what we do. It's in our blood. It's how we work. We see a beautiful woman, we go, fuck, she looked beautiful naked. Or fuck, I'd like to go to bed with her. And then other things come on where she's actually a really good person, she's funny or blah blah, and you actually start to think a lot more of her. Sometimes it's backwards. Sometimes you realise how good of a person they are before you fall in love with them, but that's sometimes. But I see her as a real sort of female strength where if I had a daughter, I'm naming her Korra by the way, if I had a daughter, I'd want her to be like Korra, growing up strong. Not just like, she want to be physically strong, I'll back that girl, I'll pump weights of her. But, you know, not trying to compete with anybody, just doing her own thing, walking her own way in life. If anybody's in the road, she'll treat them like ants. Step on them or get them the fuck out of the road. But do her own thing and be happy with whoever the hell she is. And of course, the Korrasami thing. Of course, like I said, it personally affects me because I lost the love of my life. It's a story I haven't even told my closest friends. And I don't know, man. The reason I love the Korrasami thing, because it's not because it's two girls. Like, don't get me wrong, man. You know, lesbian porn was my go-to on PH. It was absolutely my go-to because I've always referenced a dinosaur in the movie Dinosaur as something very similar to it. And this Triceratops goes, "What's worse than one Carnotaur? Two Carnotors!" And I always just translate that into, what's better than one chick?
One more time.
Two chicks.
Let us search, and then we'll leave.
Oh,
You
quest
will
A.
do no such thing.
You will do no such
I don't
thing.
know
I will
what
get
you're
out my
up to.
chopper and gun you down. Into the chopper. I'm gonna get away from these guys. It's too loud. So, you know, like all the relationships you see in this game, they have a look at each other, they find each other pretty, or they know, or they're known. You know, like Mako, everyone falls in love with him because he's this upstart firebender of the sports, and he's a pretty guy with a bad attitude. You know, it's just, it's attraction. And quite simply, it's attraction that they're popular, so they're known, and they're good looking, and whatever.
Shut up.
But Korra and Asami's, I'm gonna be real deep with you right here. Absolutely really deep. The reason I love it is because it's built for time and patience and suffering.
It has been too long, my friend.
Because quite simply,
How may we serve you?
they fell in love with each other over the worst of circumstances.
We have been over this.
Asami fell in love with Korra when she almost lost her, when she saw her almost die. You don't realise what you have until you almost lost it, alright? And Korra, she fell in love with Asami when she did lose her. Now let me explain it a little bit better. You see this shift between Asami and Korra as soon as she almost dies. You see Asami go out of her way and do absolutely everything for Korra. She's, you know, she's probably dressing her and undressing her and taking her to baths and looking after her and wheeling her around. You know, she's gone from that best friend to, I like you, I'm gonna look after you and make sure you're happy. You know, and Korra wasn't just there yet. You know, she was in a lot of pain, a lot of suffering.
Of course I know.
And
Swords are yours.
Korra fell in love with her when she actually lost her, when she left and went back to the water tribes. Because again, you don't realise what you have until it's gone. So you got Asami that fell in love because she realised what she had just before she lost it, and then you've got Korra that fell in love because she realised what she had lost. You know, not having Asami by her side, you know, to be there for her, to talk to her, to do things with. It really tormented her. And when you sort of think about that too much and you realise that you miss that person, you start to develop more feelings. You start to develop real feelings. And that's what's happened. But, you know, she's realised that Asami's not there with her anymore, and she's so excited to see her messages. Because no doubt, being the Avatar and being away, you're going to get 1,000 messages from fans and friends and family. Well, not family, but thousands of fans that love the Avatar. and people that want you to get better, and people that want your help, and then you've got the gangs. And she would have been so excited to see Asami's because they were best of friends. And then she lost her because she was gone. And over that time, I really believe she fell in love because she realized what she had lost. And that's why I love that story, because they both realized what they had when they were either about to lose it or when they did lose it. And I'm still pissed, man. I'm still pissed that we didn't get to see that, because it come out at the wrong time in the wrong place. It come out in a kids streaming service, or not really a streaming service, a kids channel. In a day and age where gay publicity for children, or even anybody back then, was kind of frowned upon, or like taboo. Now, I'm a straight guy, I don't give a fuck what you do, man. Was I a bigot? Yes, I've been a bigot in my life before. I really have been. As a teenager, there's going to be a time when you grow up and go, why the fuck do I hate these guys? Because they like guys? It's none of my business. Like, it's a human right to be loved and love whoever the fuck you want. As long as they're of an adult consensual age, of course. And they have 2 legs. Yes, I'm looking at you. Not with Lovers Lab mods, that's for sure. Anyway, hate's a waste of time, man.
That just leaves our friend here.
Yeah, I'm here now.
Imperial. If you think we can trust them.
That just go the Borwal. Tell him what. Warn Jarl Valfred. Time is of the essence. Now
So
go!
that's why I love Korra's story, because she's a kick-ass chick that just does her own thing. She doesn't compete with anybody. And she grows. She goes from being this arrogant kid that was sheltered, with no human activity, being this upstart punk that doesn't think things through, to then being taught that she's actually human, because she wasn't in an avatar state. She couldn't be an avatar for 3 years, so she had to come to the realization that she was finally human. She was a human avatar, not the avatar. Because you can imagine being sheltered your entire life, and the only human interaction you have is your trainers or your parents, to everyone telling you that you're the avatar, and that's what you're going to believe when you're growing up, that hey, I'm the avatar, hey, I'm the avatar, hey, I'm not Korra, I'm the avatar. And it was an amazing journey, man, and I'm very glad I'm a fan now. I'm very thankful I wasn't a fan back then when it ended, because if I would have felt like this and had to wait 6 years for Avatar Studios to get back up and running, I would have been in a really shit spot. I'd probably be a fucking emo right now. But I've got hopes for the future. That was just an idea for Season 5 and why I love Legends of Korra. It's much easier to do this while I'm playing a game, because again, I don't have to fully concentrate or edit shit. Because man, I hate editing shit. You sit there for hours just trying to pull videos together, and meh. And I could show off my beautiful Skyrim at the moment. It's not really Skyrim at the moment, it's more Felscar.
Citizen.
But yeah, so I just kind of wanted to give my idea for Season 5, why I love it, and I hope to see it back again. I really hope Nickelodeon, I've seen a lot of posts on Nickelodeon really flying the Korrasami thing. And I personally hope that it's not to try and dodge that, yes, we were the ones that put this in the grave. Just trying to sidetrack it and look like the good guys. I really hope they want to prove this, because if they come back with a movie or a series of movies, or even a series on television, and bring out Korra and show us this adventure time, like this adventure in the spirit world where they first fall in love, or they first officially fall in love, and then show them getting married down the line and all this sort of stuff, it will simply wipe out their bad name. It will be forgotten. It'll be like, yep, they did it, but no one gives a fuck anymore because they fixed it up. It's one of those things that you can actually rewrite, and I really hope Nickelodeon are out there to rewrite that. And if it's too mature or too gay, they don't have to put it on air. They can put it online for people to watch. And of course, you've got Paramount Plus now, and anybody they're gonna, of course, stream to, or let stream their content. But I'm really hoping, Nickelodeon, that you guys have changed, and you're not going to be so sheltered when it comes to gay content. And I personally hope that you guys are out there to completely rid yourself of this bad name that you guys earned back then, and there's new people in charge. I really hope you guys are out there to wipe out this bad name, and the only way you can do that is by showing LGBT content, either with Kyoshi or especially Korra, because there is a massive fan base out there that not all of us are gay. We just want to see Korra happy, but a lot of them are gay, and they felt growing up their entire lives they were repressed, because there was no one out there really had their story where they grew up being gay and there was a gay character until Korra come along, and she was the first, and they'd love to see her continue. So let me leave you with this. The memes going around where Korra could walk so others could run. Let's start a new one. Korra could walk so others could run, but now that we've got Nickelodeon and Avatar Studios back, let's let Korra sprint. Anyway guys, I hope you guys are all doing good. I'm gonna get back to playing Skyrim. Peace out.